It was long ago and it was far away, but we are so much better than we were yesterday. Yeah.
It's not that far away.
And we are talking about the Habs. This is Habsolutely coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q. My name is Paul Calamere. This is my co-host,
Jean Filion.
Jean-Louis.
Jean-Louis Filion.
JL Filion. JLF. Yes. But you know what? We are here and we're ready to go today for another show. Habsolutely coming to you live. So here we go. John, how you doing today?
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
There's so much going on now. I'm like totally excited. I weighed in this morning. I was 132 pounds.
Geez, I'm in trouble.
I'm doing my physical, because today is like physical day.
I'm in trouble
for the Habs
because my weight is threatening to break the 200-pound mark. Below 200, I'm gonna miss the 200 club. I'm gonna get thrown out. John.
Yikes! Well, we'll have to get a pizza.
I'm gonna have to do something.
Have to get a pizza.
If I lose my 200 club status,
maybe we can get
life ain't worth living.
Maybe some of our fans in La Belle Provence can send you some Montreal bagels.
Montreal poutine.
Montreal bagels.
Yeah,
too.
Montreal
yes,
bagels
for sure.
So. But what an exciting weekend here. We're going to talk all about the prospect games against the dreaded rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs, up the road from us here in Niagara Falls. And man, oh man, I was really excited watching the games.
You were?
I was excited.
Well, I mean, it's great that we've got hockey happening again.
Yeah, and I don't care about losing to those games. But just watching our prospects out there plying their trade and doing the things that we thought they could do. And I mean, I love it. I love watching it. Hockey's back.
Think about this. 18,000 fans watching prospects play hockey 2 days in a row.
It doesn't
happen
at
the Bell Center.
It doesn't happen anywhere else.
With the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I saw those jerseys on the ice, and I'm going, oh, yeah, now we're going. And speaking of jerseys, this one here's an oldie but goodie. This is a starter jersey from when Starter made these things. So it's an older jersey.
And now it's Fanatics who are making the jerseys.
Fanatics, yeah. And they say they're pretty crappy jerseys, though. They're tearing apart and coming apart and everything else. So we'll see what happens.
We will see.
We will see what happens. So we always start the show off with one thing here, and that is
Habs Trivia.
Habs Trivia. And this is a good one today because it's about somebody everybody knows and loves, but something they might not know about him.
Somebody that everybody knows and loves. Well, that has to be Rocket Richard.
Well, we all love Rocket and Beliveau and the rest of the gang by the G's. But this guy here is one of our favorites, and his name was Yvan Cournoyer, the Roadrunner.
Yvan Cournoyer, numero deux.
And we knew him as the Roadrunner.
I mean, I remember Yvan Cournoyer when he first came up, and there was no spot for him on the team.
No, Toe Blake didn't have. Actually, we'll get into that about him, but Toe Blake didn't have confidence in his defensive ability, so he wouldn't play him. Where he got his big break is after the 1968 Stanley Cup win by the Habs. Toe Blake stepped down and Claude Ruel came up.
And Claude probably coached him back in junior
It
hockey.
Could be.
I'm pretty sure
he would. Montreal Junior Canadiens.
Exactly.
And so once Claude Ruel took over, he put him in where he should be. And yeah, the rest is history with the Roadrunner. But
debut.
He got his nickname because he was so fast.
BB.
Just like the Roadrunner in the cartoons. You've seen Wile E. Coyote, Acme Company, and everything.
BB.
But what did he attribute his speed to? And I've got four answers.
Okay.
So I'll give them, and then you can tell me which one you think it is.
Perfect.
His demeanor. He was always joking around and getting in trouble with the coaches who gave him extra laps during practice. He wanted to get them over with so fast that he just went all out, and his speed naturally developed to get the laps over with. 2, his size. Because he was on the smaller side, he had to learn to skate and take his short, choppy strides. And as he grew up, he became faster and faster to keep up with the bigger guys.
I like that one.
his skate blades. He figured out in junior hockey that for him, the longer his blades were, the longer they were in contact with the ice. So that allowed him to push harder against the ice, making him quicker. So skate blades were longer than usual skate blades.
You should have been in the Olympics.
Yeah, he could have those big
Okay,
ones.
exactly. He should have been like an Olympic skater.
His workout regimen, he knew that he was small, and to excel in the NHL, he was going to have to be fast, very fast. To be fast, he had to really work on his legs. And he had a regimen that would kill most people just for legs each and every day of his NHL career. Those four.
I mean, he's like MSL with legs for sure.
Yeah, do you want me to go over them again?
I'm going with number 2.
Number 2, his size.
His size, because he did have, I believe, a bit of a choppy skate to him, and that was his speed. You know, it was like running almost on blades.
Well, yeah, it was. Yeah, that was. I mean, I remember him going down the ice, and his legs were moving so fast, and you get a guy like Beliveau who was taking these big strides. Or Lafleur, you know, they took those big strides, but him
and Lafleur was just effortless. It was like he was like walking on ice. He was walking on air.
Yeah,
floating. He was like floating.
He didn't even look like he was moving, Lafleur. His hair was moving, but he didn't look like he was
looked like an angel.
Yeah, the flower.
The flower.
Just floating like a flower. But what do you think out there in Videoland? What do you think the answer is? Well, I'm going to give you the answer right now. And the answer is number 3, his skate blades.
Really? That's shocking.
He figured out in junior hockey that for him, the longer his blades were, the more ice surface they would contact, allowing him to push harder against the ice, making him quicker. So his skate blades were longer than usual.
So how could he do that?
Well, he couldn't have the ones used in Olympics.
No, of course not.
They're just a little bit longer.
But how could he get somebody to make a rocker blade?
Yeah, I know.
Longer.
I don't know, but he did.
You know, I mean, that just boggles my mind.
Now, today it wouldn't be a big deal because they replaced just the blade.
Today it's totally different. And they'll do anything for an athlete, whether it be a hockey stick, you name it.
But in those days,
I mean, the biggest thing where somebody would have a skate, they would buy CCM Tacks.
Right.
Because Tacks had the best fitting boot.
Yeah, I had a pair.
And then at one point, people said, Bauer's on the scene, and they're making a better blade. So then people would take the Bauer blade and put it on their Tack.
Yep.
You know? And then, of course, it changed. Lang came out and started making skates that had, like, a plastic boot. And then it got, like, where we are at today, with which I can't fathom the variety there is to choose as far as the skate goes.
No, especially the blades, because they just pop right off and pop right back.
Exactly.
But yeah, he must have went to Tack or whoever and said, this is how I want it.
And how would a young guy who's just trying to break into hockey, who the coach doesn't really respect, have the clout to go, I need a longer blade. It's got to be the blade. It's got to be the sharpening of the blade. So somebody who is sharpening the blade somehow tried to give it a little more length in the way it was sharpened.
Maybe it was like Larry Land and his dad welded a hunk of metal to it.
Had to be in the sharpening process. That's all I can think of.
Well, that's what his story is. It was a longer blade than usual on his skates. I wonder if he had big feet, maybe, and he was like in a size 9 with a longer blade than a size 7.
Maybe he had a promo deal with Gillette.
Yeah, could be, but that's the correct answer.
What I always remember was when he was first trying to break into the NHL, they would stick him on the power play because he couldn't play on a line.
Right.
And inevitably, back in the day, we would be forced to watch some team that dressed in blue and white every Saturday night. And we would just be sitting by the TV waiting to hear what had happened in the Montreal Forum that night. And all of a sudden, there'd be like, and we've got a goal was just scored in Montreal, power play goal, Jean Beliveau with an assist from Yvan Cormier or something to that effect, and J.C. Tremblay. And the big thing there was the fact that all of a sudden, Cormier was amassing a lot of points and goals from the power play. And it was like, who is this guy? Who's this guy who keeps showing up on the score sheet when Montreal has a power play? And it was Cormier.
Well, of course, the Roadrunner went on to become one of the Habs' great players of of the team, playing 16 years for the Habs from 1963-64 to 1978-79, winning 10 Stanley Cups.
10 Stanley Cups.
He was born in Drummondville, Quebec, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1982, and in 2017 named one of the 100 greatest NHL players of all time.
Wow.
By the time he was 18, his legs were so muscular he required specially tailored pants.
That I can appreciate.
Yeah. And Tobley considered, of course, the Roadrunner a defensive liability, like I said, and he finally got going with Claude Ruel. The rest is history. Cournoyer went on to become a Hall of Famer, playing in 968 NHL games, amassing 428 goals, 435 assists. And, I was watching 428 and 435, which shows you what an all-around player he was. He wasn't only a goal scorer. He was a setup guy. When you have the same number of assists as you do goals, you know the
You're
guys.
a playmaker.
That's right. And
you're playing to win.
Yep, and he could put the puck in the net.
You're playing to win.
853 points. His playoff record was amazing as well, playing in 147 games with 64 goals, 63 assists. There's that consistency again.
Well, and again, how many Stanley Cups? 10?
10.
You definitely are playing some playoff games.
And, of course, we all remember the 1972 Summit Series with Russia. And in that last game,
he was on the ice for the goal, wasn't he?
Yeah, in the deciding game with 7 minutes left, Cournoyer was the guy, the Roadrunner.
Set up Paul Henderson?
He didn't set up Henderson, but he scored the tying goal.
Ah.
And then Henderson went on to score the big goal that everybody remembers.
But was Cournoyer on the ice for that goal?
It's possible.
I think he was
on Henderson's line. Yeah.
I think he was.
Yeah. And Henderson scored it, of course, and the Canadians won the series and for the Canadian team. But, yeah, I remember that vividly and that game right there. And
how could you not?
Yeah,
yeah.
He got the tying goal with 7 minutes left to get him there. So
one of the nicest guys, too, I think, that's ever played hockey.
That's the Roadrunner.
And, of course, he was born on a great day, November 22nd.
Was that his birthday? November 22nd?
Yes.
Your birthday. Same as yours.
Birthday as mine.
He's not an octogenarian. Yes, he is.
Yes,
he's 80 years old.
He is an octogenarian.
He is 8.
He's the real octogenarian.
Yeah, when I think about it, I'm going, how can he be 80? Yvan Cournoyer. I mean, it seems like yesterday we were watching him.
It seems like yesterday we were listening to hear who scored a goal in Montreal.
Yeah.
When we were forced to watch some other team on the TV.
On the bum team there.
Unbelievable when you think about it, seriously.
It really is. Time flies.
And it's interesting because, you talk about his record, and I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we were talking about J.C. Tremblay.
Yes.
And somebody, I think, left a comment the other day on our podcast regarding how come J.C. Tremblay isn't in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, somebody said that on the post, and that's a great question.
And I think it is a great question, and I think it has everything to do with the fact that J.C. Tremblay left the Canadiens and played in the WHA for the Quebec Nordiques.
It could be.
And I believe J.C. Tremblay, if he had stayed with the Canadiens, I mean, he won 5 Stanley Cups with Montreal. I think if he had stayed and done the tenure with Montreal, he would have won 10 Stanley Cups. And he'd be in the Hockey Hall of Fame as well as Yvan.
Yeah, he jumped money. These guys jump for money.
But he played for Quebec.
Yeah, Nordic. Our rival enemies, our arch enemies, Nordic.
Yeah, great rivalry between the Nordics.
It was the best, man. I used to watch that coach on the bench. His eyes would bulge out like his neck was being squeezed when he got mad, yelling it out. Coaches.
I believe Tremblay was a very, very good hockey player, and what I remember is the fact that he was great at bringing the puck out from behind the net and moving it out of the zone. And of course, hockey's a lot different these days. Those players were shifting like 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Was lasting the shift. You didn't get people, invading your zone so quickly, as far as putting pressure on the D to, get the puck out. They were, trying to control the puck. The forechecking is much more extreme now compared to what it was, say, 60 years ago. But we remember, Je me souviens, and I believe JC definitely would be entitled to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but it's because he left the NHL early.
Yeah, we should write a letter.
You know,
got to write a letter.
And that makes me think about, we talk about what goes on in La Belle Provence, and this week I read that there's been a lot of talk. I think Elliot Friedman has been speaking about the fact that what a success it was for this prospects game. The development or the redevelopment of the rekindling of the rivalry between the Habs and the Leafs, and the fact that there should be a big outdoor game this year between Montreal and Toronto.
That would be nice.
So he's talking about it. I kind of think he's just kind of putting it out there. He's speculating that there should be a Winter Classic in Quebec, but I'll take it one step further. If we're going to have a Winter Classic there, let's do it in Quebec City, and let's do it around the Carnival.
Yeah,
that's what I would love to see.
Harmonize.
So let's have the Quebec Winter Carnival, Le Bonhomme, and let's do the outdoor game in Quebec City.
That would be awesome.
Okay, so there you have it.
And Quebec's always knocking on the door for an NHL team again, so this would be perfect.
Absolutely.
And you know what?
So you heard it here first on Absolutely. That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for.
The biggest roadblock will be some guy named Bettman.
Bettman, you little weasel, listen to us.
That's what we should do, because 6 weeks ago?
Yeah,
that you and I talked about something going on in with the team, and we speculated that MSL was going to run the power play.
Yes, and guess what happened? We didn't, not we, you, because I never even thought of that. So I'm not taking any credit.
It's part of Absolutely.
You're the one who said that.
You inspire me.
I do inspire you, but
you bring out the best of me.
But be that the case, that was your idea. I can't take any credit for it, and you were bang on. I said, "Who do you think is going to run the power play?" We heard what's his name coming back, Markov, the general coming back, maybe to run our Kovalchuk. No, not Kovalchuk. Kovalenko. What was his name?
Andrei Kovalenko.
Was it Kovalenko who played for us, or what was the guy's name? Oh, he was great. We loved him.
KK.
Loved him. Yeah, not KO. No, we got rid of him. But anyway, he was talking about that. You said, no, there's only one guy who can run this power. I remember like I remember J.C. Tremblay and Yvon Cournoyer.
So not like yesterday.
No. And you said the best guy is Martin St. Louis. I mean, who knows more about the power play and being on the power play and running a power play and being successful on the power play than MSL? And I said, Frig, yeah. He's got it, and that's what's happening.
So I'm so pleased that MSL, while playing golf, announced to the world that he is definitely going to run the power play.
And that makes perfect sense, to be honest with you. It makes perfect sense.
Our power play last year was 27th in the NHL. And we were successful in putting a puck in the net 17.5% of the time. Marty St. Louis, during his career, 25% of his production of goals were scored on the power play. So if we can have players out there and their production is 25%, we'll start really clicking.
Yeah, well, those games we lost by 1 last year, we're not going to lose them by 1 anymore.
And I think that could be a huge bonus. Like, if there's one area that we can improve in, like, we're talking about improving this year, improving on our power play.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying last year all the time, you add up your penalty kill percentage, you add up your power play percentage. The very good teams are around 115 if you have those two numbers up. We were well below 100 most of the time. So if we can push over 100, 75-25, 80-25.
80-25 is excellent.
80-25, 80% on the penalty kill, 25% on the power play. Yeah, we're gonna be winning more games for sure.
And as you spoke to 1-goal games, we had 27 1-goal games that we lost last year.
Oh man, can you imagine?
27.
And your special teams, if you can take advantage of them.
And again, let's be on the PP. Let's not be on the PK. So if we're spending more time on the PP, if we can, get, actually improve in our rushes, in making our opponents make mistakes, then we will. It's the road to success for us.
And exactly. And we have the players to be able to make the power play excel. I just don't think we've had a really good coach for the power play. I've always said that for the last 10 years. And if Marty St. Louis can't do it, I don't know who the hell you're going to get.
And we ended last year with losing 4 1-goal games.
Yeah.
There's 4 points that were just, left out to dry, basically.
Yeah, and even I think we lost most of our overtime games too, and they could be 2 points rather than 1, right? So, yeah, I think that'll make a huge difference, and I'm looking forward to see him running it. He knows how to do it, and he's got the talent on the ice to be able to have a good power play. I'm not saying we're going to be the best in the NHL, but at least we should be in the top maybe 10. We could be with the talent we have if they produce. There's always that if, right? If this, if that. But I think we can do it.
Again, it's about knowing what you want to do, planning to do it, and then going out to make it happen. And that again is what this team is all about.
And I think in the last few years we've been pretty one-dimensional on the power play, to be honest with you. Everybody's expecting that pass to Cole Caulfield on the left. And it just didn't work out. But the guys we have now, with a guy like Lane Hutson you can't just leave him alone.
Well,
he's going to walk in and score himself.
We're also going to have more people participating in the power play
because we're going to
have a first line, but we're going to have a second line power play as well,
and a darn good one.
Absolutely. And we may get a little rivalry between the 2 power play lines, which would be fantastic.
Well, St. Louis may be having the decision to make. Who am I going to send out? Because both of them are good.
Well, the nice thing about that as well is if you had your first line power play out on the ice when the penalty gets called on your opponent and they're a little gassed, you can take them out for 30 seconds, put that second line power play in with confidence, and then bring the first one back.
Yeah, just load these guys on the ice. Liney, Newhook, and Doc.
Exactly.
Right? And then you got Mailloux and Matheson on defense, or whoever you want to put on there. Throw another forward on the point. Who knows? But we have the personnel now to make this work. There's no holes that we're trying to fill with, maybe Wah or Sauce or one of these other guys.
Well, the key thing now is that we're developing our depth, right? So, Ken Hughes has gone out and he's increased the depth of this team by 100%.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic because anything can happen in a season, injuries, et cetera, et cetera. So now we have the confidence to play, knowing full well that there are other components that are available for us, tools to use if something isn't firing properly at one point.
Yeah, and organically, these guys just have another year under their belt. And they're just going to be that much bigger, stronger over the summer, and just better. So
and the team depth, having that much depth, also allows you to spend time with younger players and continue to develop their skill level. So you're not rushing them into the NHL or into situations where they're not really taking full advantage of becoming the player that they can be.
Yeah, and that's what Hughes is about, right? Developing these players, because that's where we failed a lot of years too. We had these players come up, but we really never developed them to their potential, and we ended up trading them off. Exactly. I think you're going to see a lot more of the players that have potential on the team and being developed into great hockey players, just because we have a different attitude towards that now. We don't bring them up before their time, and if they need to be sent back down, then they're sent back down, like Jack-Eye and even Armia, right?
Correct. Totally.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing when it comes to it. They're ready to play when they're coming up to the big club.
So now we've got a smaller bench or a smaller coaching bench. But we hired a guy named Roger Grillo.
Grillo? Yeah, Grillo.
And he was instrumental in helping to develop Marty St. Louis.
Oh, how about that?
So back in the day, he helped. I think it was in Vermont. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was when Marty St. Louis came up through university hockey. He was very instrumental in bringing him into the program and helping him develop. So Marty now has gone back and hired his mentor, basically, to look overall at the coaching staff of the Montreal Canadiens and contribute his input as to what he's seeing and help them be a better team as well.
That's sweet.
It's smart.
That's smart. Well, this is what we got in Hughes and Gorton. I mean, these two guys are good at what they do, and they're proving it.
Yeah, I mean, their methodology is what is inspiring.
It is. It's something we haven't seen in a long time.
And they think logically, which is what I love.
Common sense. They just know hockey. I think they really do just know the game, too. They've been on all sides of it.
It's knowing the game, but it's always thinking about the game and thinking about how can we improve the game and working at that in a positive way.
Yeah, you don't find guys like this. As much as you don't find the good players, you don't find guys like Gorton and Hughes all over the place either.
When you think about hockey coaches in the past, you think about yellers and screamers, and guys, throwing sticks on the ice and having temper tantrums, et cetera, et cetera. This is not what the Montreal Canadiens are.
No, not at all.
And that's why you're seeing this all these young players going, I want to be here. I want to come to camp early. I can't wait to get out on the ice and find out if I've improved, and I can't wait to start winning hockey games and having that opportunity.
It's a great atmosphere.
It's fabulous.
Absolutely, and that's why I think too. Just that whole thing. We always talk about this every week: culture, playing together, being friends, hanging out together,
playing golf together,
playing for each other. I mean, this is what it's all about that they've developed in Montreal. And although we talk about it every week and everybody's going, these guys, all they talk about is culture. But I'm telling you, when we win the Stanley Cup because of it, you're going to be going, those two goofs on Absolutely were right.
Geezers. I mean, consider this. For the last 2 or 3 years now, we're developing a core of great players. The Slav, Suzuki, Caulfield. We're developing this core of young, great players. I mean, they've only really been in the NHL for 3 years. And some of them, haven't even seen, as much time because of an injury or whatever. So now these players have bonded together as the team continues to grow in depth from the prospects, et cetera, et cetera. And as well, they know what it's like to lose. And now they want to win. And so they're going to look around at each other and they're going to be there for each other. And that's what I think is starting to come up, because they're going to grow and, they're going to look at each other over the next 2-3 years in the dressing room, and they're going to say, yeah, we came up together from the bottom and now we're winning. And they're going to want to continue that streak.
Yeah. And that whole thing is contagious, not only in the locker room, and in Montreal, but it's contagious to other players in the league who now are saying, man, we'd like to be part of this Montreal, whatever's going on in Montreal here.
It's called the rebuild, which leads us in to today.
Yes.
Because today,
start of the series
on Crave, the rebuild. The first 2 episodes, I believe, are premiered today.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, I can't wait to get home and turn on Crave and enjoy 90 minutes of Les Bleu Blanc et Rouge.
Yeah, and it'll tell you the story.
I'm excited by that.
Yeah, exactly. So watch that. Tune in. Crave TV.
Absolutely.
I'll be streaming it from somewhere I don't have Crave.
Well, and that leads to another story today, a big news story.
Oh, boy.
Which was that Bell Media sold their shares in MSLE to Rogers.
Oh, no way. Wow. So Montreal's their only game now.
So and think about this, Bell Media owns Crave. So the show is about the Canadians. It's not about the Leafs. They're divesting their MSLE investment because they know that in 5 years' time we'll be winning the Stanley Cup, and the shares at MSLE won't be worth anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, the shares of Bell are going to scream if Montreal gets in the playoffs. And takes a cup run.
Absolutely.
Oh boy!
So a brilliant move again on Bell's part.
There you go. I've got my mobile phone with them. Maybe they'll drop the rates because they're making so much money with the Habs and everything else.
So I mean, what a great move! I mean, get rid of MSLE and keep MSL.
Yeah. Pay MSL more once they got rid of MSLE. Who cares about MSLE anyway, right?
Absolutely.
I don't care what happens to them. Get them out of here. Like Trump would say, you're fired. Get them out of here. Over to the prospect games now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the prospect games. I watched both of them. I just missed the last period of the last game because I had to go somewhere and I couldn't watch it. But we lost both games by 1 goal, one in an overtime shootout. I don't think we lost the other one in regulation time, 5-4.
We.
Okay. My takeaways from the game. Let's just talk about separate players because there's some we had big expectations for. Lane Hutson.
Yes.
A game changer. He lived up to his billing. This kid is the real deal. If any prospect is ready for the NHL, it's Hutson. And I said, what else did I say here about Lane Hutson, one of my favorite guys now. Oh yeah, he has a lot to learn, but the kid is ready. He did his thing and amazed the crowd every time he touched the puck. That's my takeaway.
I mean, we've got room on defense. Somebody just retired, right? Weidman?
Weidman, yeah. Rob Weidman retired. He was injured, then he retired.
So we continue to have room for defensive players.
I think he's going to get a start. You can disagree with me, anybody.
We're definitely going to bring in, I think, at least one. I think it's possible that we bring in 2 new defensemen. We'll see.
My second guy I was watching, Owen Beck, he got a goal, played both ends of the ice. He's a workhorse, smart guy at that. I'll be surprised if he doesn't take a place on the 3rd or 4th line when the season starts. That's my take on Owen Beck. I loved him. He played a great game. He was back and forth, playing responsible, centering everything. Yeah, his head's up. He's always there, and he likes to mix it up a little bit.
I mean, Owen Beck, we love Owen Beck.
Yeah.
First of all, we think he's a great person. We wish him all the best in his career. He's 20 years old, I think. Still.
Yeah, he's 20.
He had a phenomenal career season last year, winning the Memorial Cup.
MVP.
He's what do we do with Owen Beck? What is the best way to help Owen Beck achieve his ceiling? That's the question. It's no other question. So, would he be better served to be playing in the American Hockey League or the NHL this year? No, it's that simple.
It's that simple. And, all this stuff that we're talking about now, it's going to come down to training camp and how they work out. If he has a hell of a training camp, they may pull him up right away. If not, they might say, well, go to Laval and do a couple, do a year down there. It'll straighten you out. And, so a lot of it's going to come down to training camp, I think.
Yeah, again, it's having that depth. And because you have that depth, it's allowing you to spend time with player development. So it's going to come down to what Ken Hughes and MSL and a couple of other people think is the best path for Owen Beck to reach his ceiling. And it's to me, it's that simple. Because we have enough depth to allow him to play in the AHL for 1 year. And as much as we all are salivating to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs next year, the most critical thing is to remain on our path and stay with the program to achieve that Stanley Cup in 5 years.
True enough. Florian Jackeye. The kid wants to play. He'll work his way into the lineup sooner rather than later. I'm not sure if he'll start with the Habs this year, see how the training camp goes. but a little play in the AHL will be good for him, I think. But he's destined to play on the Habs, I think, and that's.
I mean,
the way I look
that's
at it.
really exciting when you think about it. I mean, he's got to be what, 19, Jack guy?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah,
And I mean, like, we know he's a force. He's got size, which is what we want up front. And he may turn out to be a better asset than his brother.
Yeah, well, he can score goals too. He's proven that. So
he may be more successful at his position than his brother is at his position. But we'll see.
And we'll see how he makes out because we have Pizzetta, but Pizzetta's been in and out of the lineup, and Jack I might get thrown in for a few games because he's kind of in the same vein as Pizzetta. Only I think he has a better touch at scoring than Pizzetta. So it's going to be interesting. And I like Pez. Don't get me wrong. I like Pez.
I like Pez a lot as well. But again, it's important for a guy like Jack Guy, just as much as a guy like Owen Beck, to be able to get touches this year and to keep growing physically, mentally, and be challenged as well. That's what it will really come down to it with Beck and Jack Guy, is whether they're challenged enough to expand their mental game in the AHL.
Yeah, and I mean Florian has some motivation. I mean he wants to be up there with his big brother and then turn the Basham brothers loose on everybody. So
it's key to get those valuable minutes playing professional hockey.
Yeah, I'd like to see both those names on the back of a jersey. Both of that last name on 2 jerseys.
Yeah,
nobody else has that in the league. He's XYZ.
No more like just like the Mahavlich.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the Mahavlich brothers. Logan Mailloux, force out there, definite possibility as a starter for the Habs. His size and speed, and he's good with the puck, of course. I like this game. I thought he played great in the series. He was always out there, and he was bashing people around, and he does what Logan Mailloux does, and that is play good.
Mailloux spent the whole year last year in the AHL, I believe. So if there's one player who's probably ready to make the jump, I believe it's him.
Logan.
And at one point, we do have to onboard some of these people, and we have to find out whether they can play in the big league and give them the opportunity. So
well, Logan, I think you're right. I think
it just might be his year.
And we may see him and Lane Hutson on defense this year. So if you want to get excited,
c'est possible.
C'est possible. And if you want to get excited, think about that, all you out there in radio and video land. And by the way, subscribe. Like us, subscribe.
Leave comments.
Give us comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down, notifications. You want to see this show.
We know you like the show. And thank you very much.
And thank you very much. Now, here's a guy that I really liked. Engstrom. He got the first goal, and it was a friggin' dandy.
A doozy.
Yeah, it was a doozer. Man, I think we have something special in this kid here. He got the first goal of the series. What a beautiful shot. And I don't think an NHL goalie would have stopped that one, man. That was unbelievable. Quick, smart, got to be on the Habs at some point. He's too good not to be. Now, I don't know if he'll be there this year, but I think there's something about this guy. He just the way he plays and the way he skates around and gets involved. I think he's too good not to be on the Habs at some point. Do you think he's going to even have a shot at making it up this year, John, or what?
I don't think he's at training camp.
They didn't invite him to training camp? Well, that answers that question.
I don't see him there.
No? Oh, boy. I thought he'd be there for sure.
Doesn't show up.
Huh. Under the E, Engstrom.
Not there.
Wow. Well, that's surprising to me. That's surprising to me.
Oh, sorry. He is there. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go.
I missed. I missed. Yeah. But think about this. You've got Engstrom.
I'm very surprised if he wasn't.
Hutson, Mailloux.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to carry 7 or 8 defensemen. That's 3 rookies.
Yeah.
Are we going to onboard 3 rookies at D?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So it's Engstrom, Mailloux, Beck, or Hutson.
Yeah, see, I'd like to see.
So you got that's the deal there.
I don't think we'll see Engstrom up this year, though. I mean, I loved how he played in that. And, I think but you know what? Hey, injuries have been a problem with the Habs for the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm going to tell you, there may be opportunities for these guys, and they're certainly at the top of the bring them up. What the hell's that? Bring them up list. They're certainly on that list, I would say.
Absolutely.
This
We don't want to know.
us?
We do not want
That's a
to
Leaf
know.
fan. That's a Leaf fan, I think. Number 6, I got on the list. Philip Machar.
Machar.
Now I know Drew Deeks and Shaner are hot on Machar, but really he didn't impress me at all. He was there number 46, but he really didn't do a lot. Not sure what they see in him, but I'm missing something because he didn't impress me a lot. Maybe Drew Deeks will probably be messaging you any minute now. But
you've got to. He's probably.
I really didn't get anything out of the guy. I don't know. I don't know. It's not that I don't like the guy or anything.
I think his game is in the mail.
Well, Drew Deeks might get the letter.
I think his game is in the mail.
I just don't know.
Here's the deal, too, though. You've got to remember that we have an AHL team that we have to ice. And so that may be his position at this point in life.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's not any good or that he might not make it in the future, but he did impress me in the prospects game.
I mean, that's, it's great to have the depth because it allows things to happen.
Yeah. So here's another guy I liked, Heineman. I like this play. I think at some point he'll be up. Not this year, though. But Heineman looked really good, too, out there. I liked him skating around his name. You can always tell because the names are always mentioned. They're always on the ice. You see the number, and I saw his number a lot out there.
And that's great. But we have a team of 12 forwards, I guess. 8.
Yep.
7 or 8. It could be 13 forwards, 7 defensemen, or 8 defensemen, 12 forwards, 2 goalies.
Yeah, okay.
So we can only fit so many.
Yeah.
And that's what'll be interesting.
So the people I'm talking about, I'm excited about, but we probably won't see them up this year. But I'm telling you, though, training camp does funny things. And people might get some starts that we're not expecting. And Hughes is the master of the unexpected.
I mean, we've got one guy playing on the team right now who's doing extremely well, who entered the NHL right from being drafted. And that is Slafkovsky.
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, Hutson, yeah, okay. He played in the U.S. college last year. So it's almost like it's his first year coming into the NHL, like having been drafted, but it's not. But that's probably the closest to that kind of a move that will happen.
Yeah, they're calling him the Calder Trophy winner this year already.
Wow. Well,
I mean, that's how good he is.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, time will tell. But you know what? To be honest with you, I hope he is.
I mean, I wish everyone a great training camp.
Sean Farrell. He's been up with the Habs before. Had a decent enough series. I didn't see anything great about him, seeing that he had been up with the Habs and all that. I didn't see him stand out or anything. He was there. He might have gotten an assist or something. I don't know about the point so much, but he's one of those on and off again guys who were with the Habs and weren't. He had his shot. He never got called up steady. So I don't know about him. I don't know. Maybe Drew Deeks will argue with this one with me as well, and same with Shaner. But at the end of the day, Shaner, I don't know if he's going to be on that lineup come October 9th when we play against the Leafs.
I think if we get 3 people from that are relatively new that enter the lineup, that would be amazing.
Now, a guy that I saw, John, and we just chatted about this before we went on the air here, was a guy named Tyler Thorpe.
Yeah, and I don't know much about Tyler Thorpe, so you could please enlighten me.
Yeah, and I didn't know a lot about him neither, so I said, who's this guy? But I noticed him get that goal, and I said, wow, that's a heck of a goal. The second goal he got in the first game. And then he got another goal in the second game, and I'm going, who is this guy? I never heard of him before. Well, Played for the Vancouver Giants last year. And he's
The Vancouver Giants.
6'5" and 212 pounds. So he's
you got to be a certain height, I guess.
Yes, you have to be, and he makes it. He just turned 19, had a darn good series. He had 23 goals and 21 assists for the Giants last year. And he's 19 years old, so he probably go back to the Giants. It doesn't look like he was inviting to training camp, so he's going back to the Giants. But man, oh man, I'm looking at this guy going, we got another good one here that's going to be up one day.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got to play out his career there in like in Vancouver, yeah, he's not coming to training camp because that's too far to bring him up.
Yeah, exactly. And
Laval's a lot easier to bring players from.
And he's also got another year before he hits 20 and can't play in those leagues anymore. So
and I think
let him develop.
I think you said too he's not signed yet, right?
No, he's not signed. They haven't signed him to a contract.
There's another reason.
He's a prospect, but he's not signed. So, but I think the Habs signed a few more players today too. I read. I didn't see who they were, but and another guy that I saw his name a lot was this Maniscum guy.
And pardon me?
I know. That's what I saw when I saw his name. Wow. But he's indigenous.
That's great.
He's great. Tough guy. He's a tough guy. He was out there throwing his weight around. I loved it. And I thought he had a pretty good series throwing his weight around. I don't see him up this year or anything. I don't even think he's in the training. He's going to, yes, he is going to training camp. So
what's his last name?
Maniscum.
Yeah. Israel Maniscum. Good for him.
Israel. But good guy. I mean, I'm going to watch him because I liked watching him in the prospect game. He was throwing his weight around. He got into a couple of scuffles. He didn't look like he was out of place skating around with the prospects. So I'll see what he does in training camp. I know he's not going to be up this year, but there's another guy to keep an eye on. I like watching some of these guys in the preseason.
Absolutely.
And of course, number 11, we got our guy, Reinbacher. I thought he had a good series. He's going to be a force on D. I don't think you're going to see him up this year as our D is pretty well set. But if injuries prevail or training camp goes bad for some of the others, you may well see him in a Habs jersey. But we know we picked him up, fifth?
Yes.
And he's going to be one day on our D. It's only a matter of time. We know it.
Yeah, and I think Reinbacher will be well served to play in the AHL on that smaller ice surface.
Yeah, he's going to learn. He's going to learn the smaller ice surface.
Absolutely.
So overall, I think the Habs outplayed the Leafs, even though they lost. Our goaltending was pretty weak. I didn't see Richard and Dobrak or whatever his name is. I didn't see them being outstanding. I think the Leaf goalie in the first game, I think he really saved the game for them. Mucho was all over him, and he made some good stops. And I would imagine, I didn't see the last period of the third game, but that goalie seemed like he was okay too.
We did outshoot the Leafs at the first game. I know that by about 10 shots.
Yeah, we played a good game. Overall, a great way to start the hockey season with 20,000 screaming fans, all primed for the season. Nobody does hockey like the Habs and the Habs fans.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, we move on to news and rumors, but there's really not a lot of news and rumors. The news was sucked up by the prospects games this weekend. So
much going on. I mean, we discussed a lot of new stuff already.
Yeah.
What I'm kind of interested in is finding out what your thoughts are about what's going on at the All-Star break this year.
Well, if I knew what was going on, I could give you my opinion. I have no clue what's going on.
Well, there is a 4-nation face-off tournament taking place.
Oh, yeah? Okay, between the United States, Canada, it has to be Sweden and Russia?
Finland. Russia, I think, are not allowed.
Oh, they're not allowing Russia.
I don't believe so.
Maybe the war will be over by then. Trump gets in. It might be over by the time we're going to have this series.
That would be interesting.
That would be good. It could be a 5-game series. Okay, so what do I think about that?
Yes.
Well, I mean, these are 4 fantastic countries that have fantastic players, and they have men's leagues that are equal to any of the leagues that we have over here. So, I mean, you could toss a coin for that one. I think the NHL is still stronger with the United States second, but I'm going to tell you one thing. On any given day, any team can beat any other team. We got 4 of the best teams in the world coming over and the best players in the world coming over. So I wouldn't be taking my money out and betting on any one team.
So do you think any of the Montreal Canadiens
will be on the team.
will be on any of the teams.
Well, I think you're going to see a couple on the U.S. team for sure. Caulfield, I think, will be on the U.S. team. Slav, didn't he play in Finland or somewhere?
I can't remember.
Sweden?
I don't think it was Sweden.
Yeah, I thought he played in one of those leagues over there. So I don't know if that qualifies him because he did play in the league, or if it has to be his own country. But I definitely think you're going to see Caulfield playing for the American team.
Right.
I think for sure, and Lane Hutson probably as well. Isn't he from the States?
Yes.
So you'll probably see him playing for the American team. Now, does it have to be NHL?
I believe it is because it's
Okay,
it's an NHL.
So it's going to be if Hutson makes it up.
So maybe two of our players will be there.
I think two of them got a really good shot at it. I mean, Suzuki might make the Canadian team.
Right. Anybody on defense?
Let's see. We have
and as I recall,
well, Lane Hutson. I mean, Lane Hutson.
Yeah, but I mean, he's.
I think that's about it. I think there's better defensemen in the league than some of the ones we have.
Do you think this is going to affect our season?
I always hate these breaks in the season. And I don't care if it's for All-Star break or if it's for the Olympics or anything. I mean, sometimes it works out good for a team. Sometimes it doesn't. We've seen teams that are on a huge roll. They're in the groove. Then they got to stop for a week or so or a couple weeks. Then they come back and they just can't find it again. But then again, there's some teams who really, really need the break and players that need the break because they're hurting. And it gives them a chance to rest. So,
from an injury standpoint, yeah.
So it could go either way, depending on what you're doing. But if my team was on a roll and they're playing like the best hockey that I've seen them play in a long time, man, I would hate to see this break. And then there's always that nagging thing in the back of your head that they're going to go into one of these tournaments to get injured.
Absolutely.
And that kind of thing. So I'm not a big fan of any of this crap, to be honest with you. Play the NHL. You want to play that kind of stuff, do it after the season's over.
I mean, it starts Wednesday, February 12th.
Yeah, and see, we're getting into the end of the season.
And it ends on Thursday, February 20th.
Yeah,
so it's like, 9 days.
Yeah, and
there's going to be a little bit of break before it and a little bit of break after it for everybody to get back to play on their teams.
So to me, see, I don't like this kind of stuff, and I don't like the Olympics neither. I don't like these breaks, and we're talking about going into February, which is a critical period for a lot of teams that are on the bubble trying to make the playoffs. Because February and March are the 2 months that you got to make your money. If you don't do it then and you're struggling to get into the playoffs, you're done. And this break could really screw some teams up. But by February, your team has also been through 4 or 5 months of grueling hockey. And some of the players that aren't going to the series may need the break, and they'll appreciate that break to relax. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
Take your pick on that one.
4 games are played in Montreal, and then the last 3 games will be played in Boston.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good. I appreciate what they're trying to do. I think it should be after the season or something.
We know the All-Star weekend really is kind of broken.
It is.
And so they've got to try something.
Well, how about trying this?
Okay.
Trying this. How about trying this? You get the team who won the Stanley Cup last year, and they play the All-Stars from the NHL. And it's a fun week of signing autographs and having fun with the fans. None of the skill shootout, this hokey stuff. They go out there and play this one game, like the Super Bowl game. And there's so much on the line, the pride of the team who won the Stanley Cup. We were the best. And the rest of the All-Stars, the NHL All-Stars going, no, you weren't.
And you play this at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you got lucky. So, like...
Go back to real old school.
Yeah, like when they had it before the season started.
Absolutely. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and something like that would
at least really try it. At least try it and see how well it would go down.
Yeah, we got so many gimmicks in the NHL now, and the gimmick of overtime, 3-on-3, and then the gimmick of a shootout. I'm sick of this stuff from Bettman and his crew. I forget about that crap. Let's just play hockey during the season and end the season a little bit earlier than the end of June, please.
I think that'd be great as well.
Like you.
Yeah, I don't like the stoppage. I really don't.
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, some people are, maybe, I don't know, but I'm not. So that's my opinion. But if you had to ask me if I wanted it and I had a choice, and I'd say no. Get it out of here. You're fired.
There you have it. There you have it.
You're fired. So for the next few weeks, training camp's firing up today. They're doing
they're doing the weigh-ins. Everybody's having their physical, and getting.
Did you punch the punching bag today?
I'm sure they're on the treadmill.
Yeah. The first preseason game starts on Monday with the Habs versus the Flyers. I can't wait to see the game. I think we have around 59 players in camp. And, of course, that number will diminish quickly as we move through the preseason and through the 6 games that we are playing over the course of the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, they'll be going. You'll be seeing them packed off at 10 at a time once we get into the second or third game. So, because they got to cut it down and finally get to their final roster by October 9th when we play the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, so we have 59 players in camp.
Yep. And I think we play our first game at home, right, against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think we play our first game.
Is it on the road?
Against Ottawa.
Well, no, the first preseason is against the Flyers.
Oh, no. I think the first NHL game we played is against Ottawa.
Leafs.
In Ottawa.
I think it's Leafs in Montreal.
Okay.
What do you think out there in TV land before John gets the right answer?
Let's have a look.
We're going to have the right answer in a second here. And then we're going to go to Le Trois Étoiles de la Semaine Dernière, and I do have 3 stars.
Well, I do as well today.
All right.
So let's have a quick look here.
Let's have a quick look at the first game in the preseason.
Working. And let's see.
Yeah, this is traditional against the Leafs. We always start against the Leafs, and I think it's in Habs land, though, this year. Last year, I think it was in Leafs land.
So the first game is Saturday, October the 5th.
Okay.
And it is in Ottawa. And Montreal plays Ottawa.
Well, I'm glad you told me because I'd be waiting for the 9th.
So you can actually see a game on Saturday, October the 5th. Are you
sure? Because what's the preseason then? Is that preseason?
That is NHL regular season. Saturday, October the 5th.
Oh, the second game's the Loafs.
The second game
is on the 9th?
On the Wednesday. The first home game.
Okay, against the Loafs?
Is on October the 9th.
There you go.
Against Toronto.
Then them sneaky Senators snuck one in on me again.
So the first home game will be against Toronto. The first home game for Montreal will be against Toronto. The first game of the season will be away
in Ottawa. Ottawa. Okay, great. I'm glad you told me. I'd be like a dummy on Saturday night watching Rush Limbaugh or something, and I'd miss the game.
Wheel of Fortune, or
something like that. Something like that. I'd be doing it with Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Anyway, Le Trois Étoiles.
I think Ryan Seacrest. And now
is he gone?
No, he's gone.
I don't watch TV.
I don't either. I just read the all the crap.
Okay. So you're
Les Trois Étoiles. Well. Les Premiers Étoiles, the first star, would be Marty St. Louis for picking up, pulling the sword out of the stone and saying, I will run the power play.
There you go.
I mean, good for him. Good on him to take that responsibility.
Listen to you.
So you can be the head coach and you can always say, well, this coach didn't do this or this coach didn't do that. Now, when you call out the power play, you're going to be calling out yourself. So hats off to you, MSL.
No excuses.
For doing that.
2.
Les Deuxième Étoile would be a guy named Mike Matheson.
What happened?
And you might ask me why I chose Mike Matheson today.
I would definitely ask you why.
If you did ask me that, I would tell you that he went to a high school in Montreal, and he spoke to the students about leadership.
Well, God bless him because he knows about leadership.
And what's great is one of the students made a comment, and he picked up on it and he dwelled on it, and he said yes. And the student said it's important for a good leader to let others flourish, and that is a key.
Yeah, well, Le Flourish.
And Le Flourish, Guy Le Flourish, and that is so important. That as we have older players like Gallagher and Anderson,
Savard,
exactly, that they they will help and mentor all of our new prospects that are being onboarded, and let them flourish. Let them develop their game. And that's what the coaching staff has been doing.
Yep.
And that's what a great leader will do. He won't put them down. He'll allow them to make mistakes, but he'll correct them.
Good for Matty Matheson.
So kudos to
Mike Matheson.
Absolutely.
Number 3.
It was in May 12.
The third star
Are the fans of the Montreal Canadiens who went to the Bell Center to see 2 prospects game and fill the arena and show their support to this team. And continually, we need these fans to understand that we have a plan, that we're enacting upon it, that we are making this road to the Stanley Cup.
The drive for 25, we call it.
And so it's really important that everybody is on board with that and supports it.
Okay, and I have 3 that are a little bit different, but one's the same. Number 1, the Habs organization, the greatest show on earth, ended up raising $365,000 for the Canadians Children's Foundation from the 2 prospect showdown games on the weekend against the Leafs prospects. Unbelievable.
C'est magnifique. C'est très bien.
C'est magnifique. Number 1, they're the Premier Étoile, the first star. Number 2, the Habs organization and the Canadians fans. Like you said, there's nobody else that does it like the Habs for any event. Like Drew Deek said, what other team in city could hold 2 prospect games and sell out 20,000 seats a game? That's amazing.
As they say up the street, nobody.
Mel Lastman, nobody. But I got to give them credit, man. They do it right, the Habs. No matter what the event is, they do it right. Even the golfing and everything. What a great organization they are. And they did it right again. And the fans showed up. That's the beautiful thing. I watched all those kids. It was like Monkey Island at the Bell Center. They were having such a good time watching these kids are watching the guys who are going to be their heroes in another 10 years, winning Stanley Cups like we were when we watched Belleville in the game.
And they're in the building.
Yeah.
Like they're in the building and they're soaking in all that history.
Yep, and they're blowing off T-shirts up in the crowd and cheering and yelling, and oh man, the DJ, it was fantastic.
There's nothing like being in an NHL building. And to be in an NHL, like the home of the Montreal Canadiens, it doesn't get better than that.
Nope. And the third star, the Troisième Étoile, the Habs and Leafs prospects. What a show they put on, and we saw some of the players of the future. Kudos to Lane Hutson and Owen Beck for living up to their billing, along with the rest of our prospects who were out there giving it their best. And the Leafs had a couple Minton out there, and they had a couple guys out there who are going to be in the NHL soon. And it's just a thrill for me to watch these young kids as a geezer coming up, and we're seeing the future guys on the ice, and I just love it, and good for them that they're there. And people forget that the NHL, making the NHL is like winning a lottery. Out of the millions of kids that play hockey in North America, hundreds of millions maybe, only 600 or 700 kids get to make the NHL.
Exactly. It's a very limited club.
And for us as fans, we're privileged to be able to see this on display. And just unbelievable. Thank you very much to everybody who ran that. I was thrilled to see hockey and the jerseys back in the Bell Center skating on.
I mean, think about it. I mean, the Montreal organization decided to organize this prospect tournament with the Leafs to revitalize the rivalry. They decided to allow, let's play it at the Bell Center and let's encourage people to come and attend. So we'll make it affordable for people to actually come into the building.
Yeah,
and then to take the money that they actually raised and give it away to a worthy charity.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
No, this is fantastic.
That's not going on in every city in the NHL.
No, they get 5,000 or 2,000 or 3,000.
But we did something special by pricing it properly and encouraging the fans. So everybody's a winner. Everybody deserves a pat on the back.
Yeah, this is a big deal. Anyway, that's all I got, John.
That's a c'est
fini.
C'est fini. C'est tout. That's a lot.
Anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it once again.
Merci
Hit
beaucoup.
the like button. Hit the like button.
Merci beaucoup.
Hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Give your comments. And we'll catch you next week at noon on Habsolutely as we roll into the preseason. And, oh, man, we'll have something to report on that on Wednesday because the first game is on Monday the 23rd. So,
Je me souviens, get on that Crave subscription and watch those Habs.
we're checking out.
En français or en anglais?
Anglais for me. Me no speak French very good.
Oh, maybe we're going to have to do French immersion lessons for 10 minutes every, every Habsolutely.
Maybe during the season we'll do one French phrase a show.
That would be excellent.
So that we can learn French.
I like that idea.
There you go. Let's do it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it like the Leafs talk about a Stanley Cup. We got to do it.
We're going to parler en français.
Oui, oui.
C'est bon.
C'est vrai.
C'est tout.
De sausage, sans doute. Okay, we're out here. Take care, everybody. Love y'all. We'll see you next week on Habsolutely.
Good show.